He was leading children of Israel out of Egypt. He was in the wilderness. He was leading them across, trying to get them to build their faith, and get them to be obedient, get them to understand God. The devil, of course, fought him every step of the way, and he used the very people he was leading to fight him. Go figure. It seems to me the sons of Korah came against him. Said, you've made yourself a prince and a king over this whole land. You're not the only one that hears from God. I was always amazed and in confusion at his reaction to this. You know what he did? He fell on his face. I'm like, I just don't understand it. He should have just slapped him down. He should have. I think I would have, is really what I was saying. This is the way I think I would have handled that. This is how I would have done that. This is what they needed, as if I know better than Moses. What an idiot. I'm an idiot. There's a reason he did it. You guys know why? This was one of the ultimate traps of hell. Consider it. One of the ultimate traps of hell. One of the ultimate attacks of the devil. We see it again in the life of Jesus. We probably see it in many places. If we'll learn to look for it, we'll see this over and over again. If that be the Son of God. This was a more covert attack. You are leading the people. You obviously have God's ear. He's obviously empowered you to do this. You need to be in power and authority. You really can't put up with rebellion. It will show you weak in the eyes of all the people. If you don't stand up and take care of this, everybody's going to disrespect you. And you have the power and the authority to stand up and take care of this. That's one side of it. The other side of it is if I stand up and take care of this, now, before I go there, what tool could the devil be using here to get Moses? What word would sum it up?
Immaturity.
Yes. Anything else?
Pride.
That's the one I was looking for. Devil's problem? Pride. Yeah, but Moses wouldn't have been proud because this is who he was anyway. Hey, that might even be the will of God.
I see it even differently than that. Moses was man enough to step up and murder the Egyptian. It's not that he didn't have it in him.
Problem with Moses and the murdering of the Egyptian, he did that in the flesh.
Right?
He knew the purpose and the plan and the will of God, and he stepped into the flesh ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And did it himself. That's what caused him the problem there. He didn't wait on the timing of God and the maturity of God and the preparation for him to get where he needed to be. In murdering the Egyptian, he knew he was supposed to deliver these people. And he tried to show himself to the people by doing so and defend. All he was trying to do is defend the people. And he was actually even trying to work in the will of God that he knew it was supposed to take place. Where did he miss it? He was in the flesh and missed the timing of God, didn't have the proper maturity, and so it went south on him. He had 2 out of 3, probably even bigger numbers than that if I wanted to take the time to go into it. Will of God's there, Purpose of God's there. Plan of God's there. We're in Egypt. The need is there. The people are crying out. The people are being oppressed. They need a salvation. They need a Savior. They need somebody to stand up and lead them. God's called me to do it. I know He's called me to do it. And this might just be the opportunity for me to show these people that this is who I am. And what they're supposed to do is follow me. Well, you could go on and on with that one. Well, I probably could. I'm long-winded. We talked about this with Noah, sending out the birds. He didn't uncover the boat till God said so. He waited a year. Moses waited 40 years. He was 40, somewhere in his early 40s when he had to run out of Egypt because he was wanted for murder. He was already 40 years old by then. And then he had to go another 40 years in the desert. The preparation. Well, why did it take 80 years? The bigger your calling in God, the longer it takes to prepare you to do that work that you have. The first time, I'm glad you brought that up, that was, look at all the things, look at all the reasons for to do it. Look at all the reasons, that I just named 10 or 11 things that were in place and necessary for him to step onto the scene. He missed it 2 places, maturity and timing. He had 80 to 90% of the things correct. Of course, that comes from relationship. 70 to 80% of the things correct. But those 3 things were more than enough to take him out. That might even be the will of God. As a matter of fact, I know it's the will of God. I know it is. I know it is. Nobody else knows it, but God talked to me and I know it. I feel it. Can't you feel it? I don't see that God showed up before then. Did God show up and tell him that? Think about the story. Did God appear to him before the burning bush and let him know that? I don't think he did. So where did he get this understanding from? Where did he get this knowledge from? Where did he get this, I just know this is true from? God spoke, let there be light, and released all this stuff. And all he was doing was wandering around being him, and it was just sucking up on him. He just knew. How do you know? You just know. Would anybody agree with me that I am who I am? I don't believe anybody would agree with that. You would. Thank you. That is true.
I completely agree with that.
Nobody would, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Nobody would get it. God doesn't work that way. God doesn't do that. God doesn't. And they give me all their reasons why it's not so. How do I know? I know. I just know it. Yeah, but God's never done that before. Yes, He has. People just didn't know it. They didn't recognize it. They didn't accept it. You just know. But when you just know, that's the thing with the prophetic deal. When you just know, you want to push that envelope and get there sooner. You want to try harder. You want to go. You're ready, man. You're ready. That's pride. That pride cost him 40 years. Did he learn his lesson? Well, sons of Korah came. And he fell on his face. Why? Because the devil was trying to trap him through pride. 40 years ago, I knew I was. My timing was a little off, but I knew this was supposed to be this way. I knew it! And look, here we are. It proves it! It is the will of God. I am who I thought I was supposed. I'm telling you it's true. Look at it. You can't deny it now. How easy would it have been to go through and name all this stuff out? And it would have been right within the realm of what he was supposed to do anyway, because he actually was the power and the authority, and he couldn't put up with this rebellion, and he couldn't allow it, and on and on and on and on. If he would have done that, it's entirely possible he would have fell into the trick of the devil which wasn't the rebellion itself. That wasn't it. That was a distraction. Hey, let's show him something shiny over here, and while he's dealing with that, we'll get him from this side. He won't even know what happened. Pride. He stayed humble. You nailed it. Got it 10 seconds ago. Yeah, that's good. Well, now it's been 10 minutes ago because I've been talking about it. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Excellent. That's the way it's supposed to work. Didn't you know that? I just got it as soon as you said it. Excellent. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to happen. Pride. He humbled himself to keep from being proud, because that's one of the things that God really doesn't like. Pride will take you down faster than just about anything. It just really will. It just really will. How do we know? Let's go on. Let's go on a little further in Moses. He's dealing with these people. He's dealing with these people. He's dealing with these people. They're whining about this. They're whining about that. 10, 12 different times they whined about this. They murmured against Moses. They murmured against God. They came against Moses. God. All right, we need water. We don't have any water. Did you bring us out here to die? What's wrong with you? You suck. Okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? I always turn to God and ask, what do you want me to do? Go smite the rock and it'll bring forth water. Yes, sir, I'll go do that right now. Which rock? That one right there. All right, you guys want water? Here you go. He smote the rock of ages, the type and shadow of Christ. And life flowed out of that rock. Consider the types and shadows. Christ on Calvary was smitten, but in his death, or in his breaking, life flowed out of him for us. Consider the type and shadow there. I don't know if it was days, weeks, or months later, but the same thing came up. We travel from here to here, here. What am I trying to do? Why do we keep traveling? Why are we doing this? What's going on? We could have been better off in Egypt. We had flesh pots there. We had this there. We had that there. Why are you taking that or that? Now we don't have any water again, but we had water back there, but you took us out of there, and now we got no water again. Okay, God, what do you want me to do? How heavy and grievous does it get when a million people nag at you? God, I can't even begin to imagine. A million people nagging at you all day long. He sat and listened to the people and helped them straighten out their organizational problems and their feuds and their little nitpicky stuff. His father-in-law came to visit. He said, "What are you doing, man?" I'm imparting into these people's lives the stuff that needs to be imparted to help them get free of all this junk they've got. This thing that you're doing is not good. Jethro, I think. You're not doing this. You know what? This is not good. This is going to wear you out and bring you to an early grave. You're already in your 80s. You're probably 84. Sorry, he was 83. His brother was 84. They were both old men. Do this. Pick you out a bunch of people. Start placing the layers of authority. You see it even in Moses. You pick you out a bunch of people, then impart to them the spirit that you have so that they can help you carry this load. The load's too great for you. And you begin to see the impartation. 70 elders. 12 elders. 12 apostles. 24 elders sitting around the throne in Revelations. The 12 apostles, which is the Old Testament church, and the New Testament church, the 12 apostles. 24 elders. He sent 72 by 2 ahead of him into the cities where he would go. So we have 12, we have 24, we have 70. Layers of authority. It's in there. People just don't realize it. They don't see it for what it is. Anyway, he comes to this point, and all those people are murmuring against him again. They'd already been smacked. They'd already been destroyed. There had already been plagues. They'd already been swallowed up by the ground. They'd already been... Did they learn? I mean, how many people do you have to see die? 24,000? Here you go. I mean, they died by the thousands. How long does it take to get people to understand? Don't mess with God. You mess with me, you're messing with God. Don't do it. Pretty clear. No, it really isn't that clear to people. They just can't see it. Somehow they just don't get it. Probably because of pride. That's what Korah's problem was. He was proud. Well, I'm a leader too. Well, I'm this too. You're not the only... That happened more than once to Moses. It never ended up well for the people that came to him like that. They traveled around until they had no water again. And they came to a place that the people were all murmuring again. Again? Again. What now? Why did you bring us out here to die? What's going on? We were better off in Egypt. What do you want me to do, God? Go speak to the rock. Speak to the rock this time. I'll have to look it up to make sure, but it seems to me that it was after Korah that that happened.
I think so.
It seems to me that was after Korah. But he was so embroiled in the battle, in the temptation, in the trial. He came, Korah came and he attacked him, he fell on his face, and he humbled himself. Why? Because you can easily be lifted up with pride. The next time he went out, but he was pissed off and a little bit in the flesh. Not that he didn't have reason to be pissed off. Not that he didn't have reason to be upset. Not that he didn't have the power, the authority. Not that God didn't have his back. Not that he wasn't fulfilling his purpose. Not that he wasn't actually walking in the purpose of God. Not that he wasn't proven. Not that he wasn't mature. Not that he wasn't knowledgeable. Not that he didn't ask God first and pray about it, leaning not unto his own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, he'll direct your paths. That wasn't it. How many things did he have right? A lot. There was a problem. What was the problem? The battle and the weight and the attack. Can you imagine? Not only are you fighting your own devils, but now you have the devils of a million people. Because you're covered. Oh my God. I'm stupid enough to pray, God, I want to be like Moses. Now that's stupid faith. He goes out and he's upset. Okay, you rebels, because they're rebelling again. And he was talking to them. Always watch the room that you're in. And don't let the room control you. You control the room. Okay, you rebels. You want water, you're murmuring again, and he smites the rock. What happened? He missed it. By how much? Just about that much. He didn't lose his salvation over it. Water came out. But he was supposed to speak to the rock. It was a type and shadow of Christ. When you call on the name of the Lord, he'll show up and begin to work in your life and bring you to a place of salvation. The smiting has already taken place. Calvary's Hill. Now we cry out to him, speak to him, and the water comes forth. The life-giving substance comes forth. Pride. That's a message in itself. But in keeping in step with all that I usually do, it has something to do with everything we're talking about today. It has something to do with everything we're talking about today. As much as we think we're lining up, as much as we think we're doing, as much as we are doing, Where's the devil going to get us? He's in the details. Okay, I'm doing this, and this. I'm doing all this right. Good. You focus over there because he didn't get to lead the children into the promised land. He had to hand off the honor of doing that. I believe Joshua took over. Why? He didn't sanctify the word of the Lord in the eyes of the people. He missed it. He messed up the type and shadow. How important was it? Well, how important was it? I should have spoke. I just smacked it. How important? You messed up the type and shadow, Moses. It was supposed to be a type and shadow of Christ, and you messed that up. So you know what? I got to judge you. It's going to fall on you. You're not going to go with it. You're going to have to stay over here on this side. You know what? I bet you that was pretty disappointing. After putting up with all that, dealing with all that, going through all that, now I don't get to go? Why? I don't hear him murmuring against God. Yeah, but they. I'm sorry, but they. You know what? They. He could have. He could have gone on for 1,000,000 days talking about each one of them because there was 1,000,000 of them. But he yielded, subjected, and that's just the way it was. He continued to be a great leader, and he continued to impart down to those that are under him so that they could take over and take it on. He placed his mantle on Joshua.